Welcome to Ancient Mythology for Sleep. Tonight, we journey to ancient Greece in the age of the Olympian gods. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let the ancient world carry you. The world exists in that suspended moment between darkness and light, when the boundary between night and day becomes gossamer thin, almost transparent. You are rising before the sun, as you have done for countless mornings, your feet finding the cool marble floor of your chamber before your eyes have fully opened. The stone is smooth beneath your soles, worn by the passage of many feet over many centuries, the feet of those who came before you and those who will come after. Your eyes adjust gradually to the pre-dawn gray, filtering through the columned portico. The air is still cool, carrying that particular sweetness that exists only in these hours before the world fully wakes. There is a faint salt tang mixed with something sweeter, the night-blooming jasmine that grows in the terraced gardens below. And beneath that, something older, something like incense that is seeped into the very stones of this place. The mountain air, even here at this height, carries the memory of the sea far below, a whisper of Poseidon's realm drifting upward on the gentlest of breezes. You move without haste through your chamber, your movements as much a part of the ritual as anything else. There is no hurrying on Mount Olympus. Time moves differently here. The mortals below may rush and scramble, measuring their lives in urgent heartbeats. But here, in the sacred heights, time flows like honey, thick and golden and inevitable. Still, the work of the gods waits for no one, and you have your duties. The chamber you inhabit is simple by the standards of this place, though it would seem impossibly grand to any mortal who might glimpse it. The walls are a pale marble, veined with gold, that catches what little light exists at this hour and seems to glow from within. A single window frames a view of the valley below, though at this time of morning, there is nothing to see but shadow and mist, the world still buried in sleep. The furniture is minimal, a bed with linens softer than anything that exists in the mortal realm. A table carved from a single piece of wood, so ancient that its rings are like the layers of time itself. A mirror of polished bronze that reflects your face with perfect clarity. And as you listen, let the cool stone and the soft linens and the gentle dark carry you deeper into this ancient place. You splash water on your face and neck from the basin that is always kept filled. The water is cool, drawn from the sacred spring that flows from somewhere deep within the mountain itself. You have never questioned where it comes from, any more than you question the food that appears in the kitchens, or the way the torches light themselves as dusk falls. Some things simply are in this place where the gods dwell. Your reflection looks back at you in the bronze mirror. And you pause for a moment to study it. Your face is neither young nor old, but caught in some undefined middle ground. This too is part of serving in this place. Time holds you gently but firmly in the present moment. Your eyes are clear, alert, already focused on the day ahead. You dress in the simple white linen that marks your station. The cloth so fine it is almost translucent where it catches the growing light. A sash of deeper blue, the color of the sky just before a storm, cinches at your waist. Around your neck, you wear a pendant of silver, worked into the shape of a thunderbolt, the symbol of your master, your god, the one to whom you have bound your existence. The hallway outside your chamber is already beginning to stir. A few other servants move quietly through the corridors, their footsteps soft on stone that has been polished by centuries of footfalls. No one speaks. There is an understood silence in these early morning hours, a respect for the dawn and for the moments of peace before the full bustle of the day begins. You pass by the chamber of the hearth fire, where the first tending of the day has already begun. The fire that burns there never goes out. It has been burning since time immemorial, or so it seems, and it is the heart of Mount Olympus, the warmth that flows through all of its halls and chambers. The smell of the hearth fire, wood smoke, and something older, something almost metallic, fills the corridor. You pause for just a moment. Letting the warmth reach you even from this distance. That warmth is not merely heat. It is something deeper and more enveloping, like the feeling of being held gently in a place where nothing can harm you. It settles across your skin like a second layer, pressing softly against your chest and shoulders, loosening every place where tension had gathered without your knowing. Your breath is still visible in the cool air, thin wisps that curl and dissolve like prayers floating upward. The fire's smoke rises through hidden channels in the stone, and you wonder, as you always do, whether it rises all the way to the heavens themselves, or if it dissipates somewhere in the atmosphere above the mountain. You feel yourself becoming heavier, your limbs warm and unhurried. Your breath slow and even as the hearth fire breathes with you. You move deeper into the mountain, following the path your feet know by heart. The corridors shift and change subtly as you walk. Here, the walls narrow slightly, their marble taking on a faint pink hue. There, they widen into halls so vast that your footsteps echo back to you like ghostly companions. Sometimes you pass other servants, and you exchange the smallest of nods, a gesture of greeting that respects the silence. Once you glimpse a goddess moving through a distant corridor, her form surrounded by a faint golden haze that seems to emanate from her skin itself. You lower your eyes respectfully and continue on your way. The kitchens are beginning to wake as you reach them. This is where the first real activity of the day takes place, where the rhythms that will govern the hours ahead are set in motion. The head cook, Marios, is already moving between the great stone ovens, checking on the fires that burn within them. He is a man, or appears to be, though you have long ago stopped trying to determine what any being on Mount Olympus truly is, of perhaps 50 years, with silver threading through his dark hair and a face creased by concentration and heat. He wears a white apron stained with the colors of 1,000 meals, and his muscular forearms are marked with small scars from years of work. "The morning bread," Mario says without preamble, and you move to your station. This is your primary duty in these early hours. The preparation of the bread that will be served at the morning meal. It is not exciting work, not by any standard that mortals might understand. Yet there is something deeply meditative about it, something that settles the mind and allows it to drift into a state of near sleep, even as your hands remain active and alert. The flour is already measured and waiting in a large wooden bowl, fine white flour that seems to shimmer very slightly, as if it contains some inherent luminescence. The water from the sacred spring is warming slightly by the fire. Your hands move through the familiar motions, water meeting flour, the gradual incorporation, the slow gathering of the dough into a cohesive whole. You work with your fingers, feeling the texture change and develop. The warmth of friction building between your palms and the elastic mass of dough. There is a rhythm to this work, a pulse that matches your own heartbeat. Push, fold, turn. Push, fold, turn. The motion is nearly hypnotic, and as you work, your mind begins to settle into the meditative state that comes with repetitive physical labor. The sounds around you fade slightly, the crackle of the ovens, the soft voices of the other kitchen workers, the distant sound of water running somewhere deeper in the mountain. These sounds become like the waves of the sea far below, constant and soothing, a background to your internal landscape. Let your mind drift into the warmth of the kitchen, into the rhythm of the dough beneath your hands, into the soft sounds of a world waking gently around you. Other workers move around you, each engaged in their own tasks. Someone is plucking herbs from bundles hanging from the beamed ceiling: rosemary, thyme, oregano, sage. The released scents mingle with the flour dust and the heat of the ovens, creating a perfume that is uniquely that of the kitchen. Another worker is preparing vegetables, slicing them with a knife so sharp it seems to barely disturb the surface before the pieces fall away. The rhythm of the knife against the cutting board, thunk, 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 creates a percussion beneath everything else. Gradually, as you work, the light in the kitchen changes. The narrow windows set high in the stone walls fill with a gray luminescence, then a lighter gray. Then gradually begin to take on the faintest blush of pink and gold. The sun is beginning its journey across the sky. The moment of dawn, that suspended point between night and day, is passing. The world below Mount Olympus is waking. The mortals in their homes, in their fields, in their cities, are rising and beginning their own work. By the time you have completed the final shaping of the bread, the kitchen is fully awake and bustling with purpose. The ovens are hot now, and Moreos is directing the placement of loaves with the precision of a general directing troops. The bread slides into the heat on wooden peels, steam erupting from the ovens in great clouds that carry the yeasty, warm smell of baking throughout the space. Your arms are dusted with flour. Your hands warm and slightly sticky. You wash them in cool water and move on to your next task. The morning meal will be prepared in the formal dining hall, though you have never actually witnessed the gods at their meal. Your work, like that of all the serving staff, takes place in the preparation and in the service. The actual act of eating is something that happens in spaces to which you are not admitted. You have accepted this without resentment. There is a natural order to things, a hierarchy that is as immutable as the laws of physics, and to question it would be to question the very nature of existence itself. You move through the corridors now with a cart laden with prepared foods. The bread, still warm, its crust crackling slightly as it cools. Figs, fresh from the groves that terrace the mountainside, their flesh deep purple and glistening. Honey in a ceramic vessel, so golden that it seems to contain captured sunlight. Cheese, pale and creamy, cut into perfect triangles. Olives, black and shining, from trees that have been growing on this mountain for longer than any kingdom below has existed. Wine, deep red and fragrant with the scent of grapes ripened under the sun of the gods' realm. The warmth surrounds you, rising from the bread on your cart, drifting from the torchlit walls, settling over you like something soft and unhurried. The hallways are busier now, filled with the servants and minor deities and beings whose nature and function you do not fully understand. A young god passes you. His form so bright with inherent radiance that you must turn your face away from the glare. He is singing, a melody that seems to have no beginning and no end, that exists in a perfect loop of beauty. When he has passed, you can still hear the echo of it, vibrating in the air like the final note of a musical instrument. The dining hall approaches gradually. You know it is there before you see it, by the change in the air, a certain quality of grandeur, a sense of space that seems to expand the very atmosphere. When you round the final corner, there it is, a hall so vast that your eyes cannot take in all of it at once. The ceiling soars upward, disappearing into shadow despite the light that pours through enormous windows. The floor is a pattern of marble in so many colors that it seems to depict the entire world. Forests and oceans, mountains and valleys, all rendered in stone. Along the central table, which is long enough to accommodate dozens of diners, servants are already arranging place settings. Silver that gleams with an inner light, plates of pure white ceramic, goblets of crystal so clear that the light passes through them as if through air. Flowers are being arranged in vases, roses, lilies, and flowers whose names you do not know, some of them blooming with colors that do not exist in the mortal world below. Orange blossoms and pomegranate flowers, their sweetness already beginning to perfume the vast space.
You position your cart carefully and begin to arrange the food on the serving table. Each item must be placed with precision, in an order that you have long ago memorized. The bread here, the cheese there, the fruit arranged in an aesthetically pleasing pattern. Your hands move with the practiced efficiency of long experience, but not hastily. Nothing on Mount Olympus is done in haste. Even the most mundane tasks are performed with a certain ceremonial quality, a recognition of their place in the greater whole. The light through the windows now carries true color, gold and amber, with touches of pink and rose at the edges. The sun is well above the horizon, and the morning is fully underway. Somewhere in the mountain, bells are ringing.
Not the sharp, insistent bells of the mortal world, but something deeper and more resonant. Bells that seem to be made of light itself, that vibrate through your body as much as through your ears. There is nothing to do now but rest inside this moment, to let the golden light and the resonant bells and the scent of orange blossoms hold you exactly where you are. Other servants move around you in their own tasks. Some are lighting torches in the great wall sconces, though the natural light through the windows is still bright. The torches flame with a light that is slightly more blue than normal fire, and they carry a smell like cinnamon and something sweeter, something like the air just after rain. One of the other servants, a young girl whose name you think might be Thalia, though you are not entirely certain, is arranging flowers with meticulous care. She is humming softly to herself, a melody that differs from the God song you heard earlier, but which somehow echoes and complements it. You step back to survey your work, and you find it satisfactory. The serving table is arranged perfectly, a display of abundance and order. The food is laid out in a way that speaks to both function and beauty. These are not merely sustenance, but offerings, gestures of devotion rendered in edible form. You wonder briefly who will sit at this great table, what gods and beings will partake of this meal. You have been here for how long? You cannot quite remember. Time moves differently here. And your memories of life before Mount Olympus are growing increasingly hazy, less real than this. The air in the dining hall is warming now, as the sun climbs higher and pours through the windows with increasing intensity. That warmth is a living thing, pressing softly against the back of your neck and spreading across your shoulders like gentle hands. It moves slowly downward through your chest, your arms, reaching all the way to the soles of your feet where they rest against the cool marble, filling every part of you with a deep and patient heat. Dust motes dance in the light, and if you watch them carefully, you begin to see patterns in their movement, something almost like purpose. Or perhaps that is simply your tired mind. After hours of rising before dawn and beginning work in darkness, you move deeper into the dining hall, past the main table and toward the service corridors that exist behind the walls. This is where the real work of service happens, in these hidden pathways and in the kitchens they connect to. You have duties in the secondary kitchens now, preparations for the afternoon meal that will take place once the sun has reached its apex. But first, there is a brief pause, a moment to rest and to eat something yourself. The servants' dining area is a small chamber off one of the side corridors, furnished with simple wooden tables and benches. A few other servants are already there, eating quietly.
bread, cheese, fruit, the same foods as those prepared for the gods.
Though you rarely stop to question the similarity or the difference, you sit at the end of one table and eat mechanically, your attention only partially on the food. Your mind is drifting now, the way it always does in these quiet moments. You think of the mortals below, living their brief, bright lives, unaware of how the gods move above them in this sacred place. You think of their kingdoms and wars, their loves and losses, all playing out according to patterns that Zeus has woven with his thunderbolt and his will. Here on Mount Olympus, those struggles seem very distant, like watching a play unfold on a stage. The noise and urgency of the mortal realm cannot penetrate these walls. And as you listen, the quiet of this small chamber settles around you like warm linen.
Soft and complete, and still, the food sits in your stomach, warm and settling. Your eyelids feel heavy, though the day is far from over. This is another part of serving on Mount Olympus, a certain weariness that never quite lifts, a consciousness that exists slightly outside of normal time and energy. It is not unpleasant, this state. In fact, it is rather soothing. This sense of being caught in a current that moves you forward without requiring your active participation. Moreos appears in the doorway of the servants' dining area and simply nods. This is your signal to return to work. You finish the last of your food and rise, moving back out into the corridors. The mountain seems different now, charged with a different kind of energy.
The morning work is being completed, and the transition toward midday is beginning. As you move through the halls, you begin to notice more activity. More of the divine beings are becoming visible, moving through the corridors with purpose. A goddess passes you, and her form leaves a slight scent of myrrh in the air, a fragrance that clings to your clothes and your hair. A minor god is engaged in conversation with one of the other servants. You cannot hear what they are saying, but their voices carry a musical quality, as if the conversation itself is a form of song. The light in the corridors has changed again. It is no longer the soft, golden light of morning, but something brighter, more insistent. The sun has climbed higher, and its beams come through the windows at a more direct angle, creating shadows that are sharp and well-defined. The warmth of the day is beginning to build, a heat that you can feel even in these ancient stone halls. You are moving now toward the upper levels of Mount Olympus, toward the places where the greater gods spend their time. This is where your most important duties lie, the tasks that mark you as something more than a common servant. You are entrusted with certain responsibilities, certain knowledge that others are not granted. You do not know why you have been chosen for this position, or when the decision was made. It simply is, and you accept it as you accept everything else about this existence. The corridors here are wider, the ceilings higher. The air charged with a subtle electricity that makes your hair stand slightly on end. The walls are decorated with mosaics depicting scenes from the days of creation, the stories of how the gods came to power, the battles that establish the hierarchy under which the universe operates. You pass these images daily without truly seeing them, yet they exist in your peripheral vision, a constant reminder of the magnitude of the beings you serve. Ahead, you hear the sound of thunder, though the sky beyond the windows is perfectly clear and bright. It is not thunder from the mortal realm, but something else. The sound of Zeus himself, perhaps speaking or moving, or simply existing in his full godly power. The sound reverberates through the mountain, through the stone and air, and into your very bones. It is not threatening, exactly,
but it is impossible to ignore. This is the sound that underlies all of existence, the fundamental note upon which all creation is built. You feel yourself becoming heavier, the great resonant thunder moving through you and settling you deeper into the stone and the mountain and the ancient quiet of this place. You pause without meaning to, and in that pause, you feel the weight of your position settle onto your shoulders with renewed force. You serve Zeus, king of the gods, lord of the sky, wielder of the thunderbolt. Every meal you prepare, every space you keep clean, every task you complete, all of it is ultimately in service to him. The reality of this connection sometimes strikes you with force, as it does now. And in those moments, you understand the true significance of what you do, even when what you do seems small and mundane. The feeling passes, as such feelings always do on Mount Olympus. The thunder fades, becoming merely an echo of an echo. You continue walking, and the weight that settled upon you lifts away as mysteriously as it came. This is the rhythm of this place, moments of profound meaning and awareness, punctuated by long stretches of routine and simple presence. You reach the supply rooms that serve the upper levels, rooms filled with the materials of household management, cloths for cleaning, oils for the torches, fresh flowers brought each day from the gardens. You gather what you need for the midday preparations, foods for the lighter meal that some of the gods prefer at this time of day, though the gods do not eat in the way that mortals do, and the functions of their meals are largely mysterious to you. Still, you prepare them with the same care and attention that you bring to all your tasks. The work of arranging and preparing continues, and with it comes that state of meditative focus that characterizes much of your labor. Your hands know what to do. Your mind does not need to direct them. This leaves your consciousness free to wander, to observe the world around you with a kind of detached awareness. You notice the way the light shifts as the sun moves higher, the way the shadows in the corners of rooms seem almost alive. The way certain flowers release their fragrance most potently at particular times of day. Time passes. You have no clear sense of how much. Morning slides into late morning, and late morning begins its transition toward noon. The light through the windows has become harsh and bright, the kind of light that comes only when the sun is high in the sky. The shadows have grown shorter, more direct. The heat of the day is building steadily, and you find yourself moving more slowly, your mind becoming increasingly clouded with a pleasant lethargy. Let your mind drift into that pleasant lethargy, into the slow heat of midday and the unhurried work of your hands. It is around this time, as the world below enters its midday hours, and many of the mortals pause in their labors to rest from the heat, that the summons comes. You do not hear it as a sound exactly, but as a kind of tugging, an insistent presence in the back of your mind. It is time. Your presence is needed. Where exactly, you are not entirely certain, but your feet know the way. You set down what you are doing. You are arranging flowers, you notice now, though you have no memory of beginning this task. The flowers are orange blossoms and pomegranate flowers, their petals so soft they are almost translucent. You complete the arrangement carefully, then move toward the source of the summons. The corridors you navigate now are less familiar, though your feet seem to know the way. You pass through areas of Mount Olympus that you normally do not frequent, spaces that seem to exist in a kind of perpetual twilight, despite the brightness of the day outside. The air here is cooler, and it carries the scent of ozone and something like copper, the smell of divinity concentrated, of the raw power that underlies all godly existence. You realize, as you walk, that you are approaching the chambers of Zeus himself. This is not something that happens regularly. Most of your work is conducted in the public spaces of the mountain, in the kitchens and dining halls and corridors. But there are times, rare times, when you are called to more immediate service, to attend to the needs of the king of the gods directly. Your heart rate increases slightly.
Though you are not afraid, exactly, it is more a sense of heightened awareness, a recognition of the moment's importance. You are being called into the presence of the greatest power in the universe. And even if you do not fully understand the significance of this, your body recognizes it instinctively. The doors before you are immense, carved from a wood that is so old it barely qualifies as wood anymore, transformed by time and divine presence into something else entirely. They are bound with bronze and inscribed with symbols that hurt to look at directly, not because they are ugly or disturbing, but because they contain so much meaning that your mind cannot quite process them all at once. They are the symbols of power, of authority, of the great laws that govern all creation. The doors swing open silently at your approach, and you step into a chamber that defies description. The space is vast, impossibly vast, as if the interior of the chamber is larger than the exterior walls could possibly contain. The ceiling is so high that it disappears into shadow, yet you can see the stars painted there, a perfect map of the night sky. The floor is made of marble, polished to such a high sheen that it reflects the light like water, and you can almost imagine that you are walking across the surface of a great sea. The warmth surrounds you, here in this impossible chamber, something ancient and vast pressing gently against you from all sides, holding you steady and small and safe.
At the far end of the chamber, on a throne carved from a single block of marble so massive that it seems impossible that it could ever have been quarried, sits Zeus. He is not as large as you might have expected, though he is larger than mortal men. More than his size, though, it is his presence that fills the space. He exists in a state of constant motion, even while sitting still. Lightning dances across his skin, traceries of brilliant blue-white light that course along his arms and trace patterns around his head. His eyes are the color of a storm-filled sky, and they contain depths that seem to extend infinitely inward. When his gaze falls upon you, you feel the weight of divine attention. The weight of being truly seen by something so far above your station that the difference is almost incomprehensible. You bow low, your forehead nearly touching the floor. This is the proper response, the only response. When you straighten, you wait. You do not know what you are here for, but you know that your role is to wait, to be ready, to be present and available. This too is part of the service that you provide. The god regards you for a long moment, and in that moment, you feel as if he is examining not just your physical form, but your entire being, your thoughts, your purpose, everything that makes you who and what you are. It is not uncomfortable, exactly, but it is intense, overwhelming in its completeness.
There is nowhere to hide in the presence of such knowledge and power. Then, almost imperceptibly, Zeus nods. The gesture is small, barely a movement, yet it contains absolute authority and complete understanding. What he understands, you cannot say, but whatever it is, he is satisfied. And then, as abruptly as the summons came, the sense of urgent purpose begins to fade. You have been called, you have been seen, you have been acknowledged. The work that you were meant to perform is complete, though you have done nothing but present yourself. You back slowly from the chamber, your eyes never quite lifting to meet Zeus's gaze again. When you reach the threshold, the great doors swing closed behind you with a sound like thunder.
And you are left in the corridors of Mount Olympus, the sense of divine presence still thrumming through your entire being. The light outside has changed again. The sun is at its absolute zenith now, directly overhead, beating down on the mountain with full intensity. The shadows have become almost non-existent, shrunk down to the barest outlines beneath objects and in the deepest corners. This is true midday, the heart of the day. The moment when the sun reaches its maximum power and the world below exists in a state of suspended heat and stillness. You move back through the corridors, but you are moving more slowly now, as if the encounter in Zeus's chamber has drained something from you, some reserve of energy that you did not even know you possessed. Your feet find their way to one of the observation balconies, a high terrace that overlooks the kingdom of mortals spread out far below. There is nothing to do now but rest, to let the great mountain hold you, to let the suspended stillness of true midday carry you somewhere deep and quiet and still. The view from this height is extraordinary. You can see the entire world, or so it seems. Mountains and valleys, seas and coastlines, the white ribbon of rivers winding through green forests. Somewhere down there, mortals are living their lives, conducting their small affairs, unaware of the God who watches them from these heights. Wars are being waged, loves are being consummated, children are being born, and the old are dying. All of it exists under the gaze of Zeus, subject to his will, his laws, his judgments. You realize, standing here with the sun beating down and the world spread out beneath you, that you too are part of this vast tapestry. Your purpose, which had seemed so clear only a few moments ago in Zeus's presence, is also woven into the larger pattern. You serve because it is your nature to serve, and in serving, you play your role in the grand drama that is all of existence. The realization is not unsettling. It is, in fact, quite peaceful. The weight of significance lifts away, and you are left with a sense of simple, quiet acceptance. This is your place. This is what you do. And in this moment, standing high on Mount Olympus, with the sun at its zenith, and the world below spread out like an offering, that is enough. The bells ring again, deeper now, more resonant. The midday meal is being called. There will be more work to do, more preparations, more service. But for now, in this suspended moment between tasks, you stand and simply observe, simply exist, simply are. The day continues on, as it always does, as it will always do, eternal and unchanging on the sacred mountain where the gods dwell, and where you have become, in your own small way, a part of their immortal realm. Welcome to ancient mythology for sleep. Tonight, we journey to ancient Greece, in the age of the Olympian gods. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let the ancient world carry you. As the sun begins its descent from its highest throne, the pace of Mount Olympus shifts into something altogether different. The morning's bustling energy, the clang of Hephaestus's forge, the rapid footsteps of servants hurrying to complete their tasks, has given way to something slower, more measured. The light itself has changed. Where once it fell in sharp, defining angles across the marble floors, it now comes softer, warmer, draped in shades of amber and gold that seem to lengthen everything they touch. You find yourself in one of the quieter courtyards now, one that fewer gods and immortals frequent. Here, the afternoon tasks are gentler, more contemplative,
Perhaps you tend to one of the sacred gardens that flourish on Olympus, gardens that mortals below could never imagine, where flowers bloom in colors that have no names in any earthly language, where the air itself seems to shimmer with possibility. Your hands move slowly through the soil around the base of a pomegranate tree. The fruit hangs heavy on its branches, each one perfect and bursting with promise. This tree has stood here since the earliest days of Olympus, and you have been tending it for longer than you care to remember. Your fingers know every groove of its bark, every particular way its roots like to drink when you pour water from the urn at your side. There is a profound peace in this work. Not the energetic purpose of the morning's tasks, but something deeper, a meditation in repetition, a rhythm that syncs with something ancient and eternal within you. And as you listen, let the sounds of this sacred garden settle around you like a gentle warmth. There is nothing here that asks anything of you, nothing that pulls you away from this moment of stillness. Around you, other servants move through their own afternoon routines. One tends to the birds that nest in Olympus's highest peaks, swans with plumage of pure white that catch the light like scattered diamonds. Another polishes the great bronze mirrors that reflect the sky, ensuring they remain unblemished and bright. These are not urgent tasks, not tasks that must be rushed. They are the work of eternity. And eternity moves at its own pace. The heat of the day is fading. What began as the intense, almost oppressive warmth of noon has gentled into something almost caressing, a warmth that rests against your skin like the softest cloth, unhurried and kind. It moves across your shoulders and down your arms in slow, easy waves, and wherever it touches, you feel the last traces of tension dissolving quietly away. The golden light stretches across the marble terraces, creating long shadows that seem to belong more to evening than afternoon. These shadows are cool and inviting, and you find yourself drawn toward them, your pace becoming even slower. As you walk along the colonnaded pathways, you become aware of the sound of your own breathing. The soft padding of your feet against the stone. These are the sounds you have learned to listen for in your service to Zeus. Not the sounds of urgency and action, but the subtle music of the day winding down. Wind moves gently through unseen trees. In the distance, you can see the great hall where Zeus sits even now, but from here, it seems a world away. He rests in the afternoon light, his great form settled into his throne, and the knowledge of his presence, constant, eternal, watching over all things, brings a comfort rather than a tension. He does not demand constant activity. Even the King of Gods understands the rhythm of day and the necessity of the slower hours. The afternoon light is doing something extraordinary to the landscape before you. The distant mountains, those same mountains you glimpsed this morning, seem almost to glow from within, their peaks touched with a light that seems almost otherworldly. The valleys between them grow deeper in shadow, suggesting mystery and depth. Somewhere down there, beyond the veil that separates Olympus from the mortal realm, the world of mortals continues its chaotic dance. But up here, in this place between heaven and earth, all is measured and calm. You feel yourself becoming heavier, your limbs settling into a comfortable, welcome stillness, as if the mountain itself is gently drawing you downward, inviting you to release the last of the day's weight. Your throat grows dry, and you make your way toward the great fountains that dot Olympus's gardens. The water here is not ordinary water. It carries within it the essence of immortality itself, drawn from the deepest springs that feed the world. As you drink, you feel revitalized, but also increasingly peaceful. The water is cool and clear, and you can see the reflection of the sky in its depths, the sound of water splashing, then fading to stillness. Around you now, the light is noticeably different. What was gold is becoming copper, shot through with hints of deeper orange and rose. The shadows have grown longer, more pronounced. You find yourself moving from one shadow to another, seeking their coolness, their quiet. Other servants are doing the same. You notice the busier ones from the morning have finished their urgent tasks and are now moving into the secondary duties, the evening preparations. One of the lesser gods passes you on the path, one of the minor deities associated with a stream or spring, their form shimmering slightly in the changing light. They nod to you in greeting, and you nod in return. There is no need for words. The afternoon has made everyone contemplative. The evening approaches, and with it comes a shift in the very air of Olympus. It is as if the mountain is taking a deep breath, preparing itself for the transition from day to night. Now you make your way toward the great kitchens and hearths, for there are evening fires to prepare. Meals to arrange for the gods and immortals who will gather as darkness falls. This too has become part of your rhythm, the afternoon stillness giving way to the evening's gentle preparations. The kitchens of Olympus are nothing like the kitchens of mortal palaces. Here, ambrosia and nectar are handled with the same care that mortals might use for bread and wine. But there is an ethereal quality to it all. The food of immortals seems to shimmer slightly, to contain more light than ordinary sustenance. As you move about your tasks, arranging dishes and preparing the great hall for the evening gathering, you do so with the practiced grace of one who has performed these actions countless times. Soft sounds of plates and vessels being arranged, then fading. Let your mind drift. As you carry out these gentle, familiar tasks, there is no need to hold on to any single thought. Let them come and go like the breeze that moves through these high halls, unhurried, undemanding, passing through without asking to be followed. The light outside the high windows is changing rapidly now. The copper has deepened to something more like burnished bronze, and the first hints of purple are beginning to creep in at the very edges of the sky. The transition between day and night on Olympus is not like the transition in the mortal world. It is slower, more deliberate, as if the very heavens are settling into sleep. Other servants gather near the great fireplaces, and small fires are lit, not for heat, for Olympus never truly grows cold, but for light and comfort. For the ritual of it, fire on Mount Olympus is different too. The flames burn in colors that shift from gold to green to the deepest blue, and the warmth they radiate seems to carry contentment within it. You stand before one such fire, and you feel the day's activity settling into your bones. Your muscles are pleasantly tired, the kind of tiredness that comes from purposeful work. The fire crackles softly before you, and you find yourself simply watching it, watching the way the flames dance and weave, the way the embers glow and pulse. The sound of the fire becomes louder, then begins to soften. It is during this quiet moment, as you stand before the flames, that you become aware of the stars. They are just beginning to appear in the deepening blue above. The first brave pinpoints of light emerging as the sun finally sinks below the western horizon. You move outside to see them better, drawn as if by an invisible thread. The evening wind has picked up slightly, carrying with it the sense of Olympus's gardens, flowers that bloom only at twilight, herbs that release their fragrance as the air cools. The marble beneath your feet is still warm from the day's heat, a warmth that rises up through the soles of your feet and travels slowly through your legs, spreading upward through your body like a tide that asks nothing more than to comfort you. It fades only gradually, becoming neutral, becoming almost alive with the transition between seasons of the day. Wind moves more noticeably through the structures of Olympus. You find yourself on one of the great terraces that overlook the mortal world far below. The veil between worlds is thinnest here at twilight, and if you focus carefully, you can almost see the world of mortals spreading out below. Distant fires and villages and settlements, the faint gleam of rivers catching the last light of day, the vast darkness of forests and uninhabited lands. The gods are gathering now in the great halls, and you can hear the distant sound of their voices. Not loud, not demanding, but the gentle conversation of immortals at ease with one another. Even Zeus, the king, speaks in measured tones now. The day has taught even the gods the value of peace. More stars appear with each passing moment. They seem to rise up from the horizon, as if ascending from the mortal world itself, pulling back to reveal the vast cosmos that lies beyond. The sky above Olympus is becoming a tapestry of light, the deepest blue at the zenith, shifting to purple and violet at the edges, and everywhere, the stars. The warmth surrounds you, rising from the marble beneath your feet and drifting toward you from the lighted halls at your back, holding you gently in the threshold between the day that has passed and the night that is arriving. And there is nothing asked of you in this moment but to simply be here. With all its mysteries and its peace, you make your way back inside, back to the great hall where the evening meal is being served. But you move slowly, reluctant to leave the threshold between day and night, that magical liminal space where both exist simultaneously. The hall is lit now with 1,000 candles, with the ethereal glow of Olympian lamps that burn with a light that never wavers. The gods and immortals are seated, and you take your place among the other servants, moving quietly, efficiently, ensuring that nothing is wanted, that everything is provided for. But even as you move, you are acutely aware of what lies beyond the great hall, the night itself, spread out like a vast blanket over the world below and the heavens above. Hours pass, though time itself seems to move differently now. The meal concludes. The gods depart to their various chambers. The servants begin the gentle work of clearing and preparing for tomorrow. But there is no urgency now, no pressure. The night has taught everything on Olympus to move slowly, to speak in hushed tones, to respect the sacred silence. Eventually, your duties for the day are complete. You make your way to the quarters where the servants rest, moving through corridors lit by a soft, ambient glow that seems to emanate from the very stones themselves. All sounds fade except for wind and the distant sound of water. There is nothing to do now but rest. The day has given all that it had to give, and you have given all that was asked of you. And now the night receives you without condition, without demand, simply and completely. The night is now complete. The stars are fully visible, a ceiling of light stretching across the entire heavens. From your small chamber, a simple space, but comfortable, blessed with the eternal comfort of Olympus, you can see them through a high window. You lie upon your bed, and the silence begins to work its way into you, like water seeping into thirsty soil. The temperature of your chamber is perfect, not cool enough to make you shiver, not warm enough to cause discomfort. It is simply perfect, as all things on Olympus are perfect.
Wind becomes softer, more distant. Your breathing slows. The events of the day, the morning's tasks, the afternoon's peace, the evening's gentle transitions, all begin to recede into memory, becoming dreamlike even as you remain awake. You find yourself thinking of the great mountain itself, how it has stood eternal, how Zeus sits upon his throne eternal, how the cycle of day and night turns eternal, and how you, humble servant though you are part of this eternal cycle. Outside, the wind moves through Olympus's gardens, through its columns and courtyards, through the great halls and the lesser chambers. It is a wind that carries the essence of night itself, cool, gentle, carrying the scent of distant places. And as you listen to the wind moving so softly through those far gardens, notice how your own breath has begun to follow its rhythm without any effort on your part. Slow, easy, natural. Each exhale a gentle release. Each inhale a quiet gathering of peace. The stars above seem to pulse with a rhythm that matches your heartbeat, as if you and the heavens above are breathing in synchronization. This is the secret of serving Zeus on Mount Olympus, that in serving, you become part of something vast and eternal, something that moves beyond the small concerns of individual moments. Your eyelids grow heavy, not the heaviness of fatigue, but the gentle weight of contentment, of peace, of knowing that all is well, that all is as it should be. In the great hall, the fires have burned down to embers that glow softly in the darkness. The torches along the corridors burn with their eternal flames, but they are turned low, providing just enough light for those who walk the halls of the gods. But you are not walking anymore. You are still. The night deepens. The stars above continue their eternal journey across the sky. Far below, in the mortal world, mortals sleep in their homes, unaware of the immortal mountain rising above them, unaware of the peace that reigns here in this place between heaven and earth. Silence. Pure, absolute silence. You feel yourself becoming heavier, each slow breath pressing you gently but surely downward into the softness beneath you, into the quiet that has settled over every stone and column and garden of this eternal mountain, as if Olympus itself is breathing out and drawing you with it into rest. You are part of Olympus now, truly part of it. The eternal mountain has claimed you as its own, not through force or command, but through the gentle persistence of peace, through the rhythm of days and nights, through service rendered with a quiet heart. The darkness wraps around you like a soft blanket. Somewhere, impossibly far away and impossibly near at the same time, Zeus sits upon his throne, watching over all things. But even the king of gods is still now is at rest now, is part of the vast quietude that descends upon Olympus when day gives way to night. A breath of wind, the faintest sound of distant water, then nothing. Your consciousness begins to drift, like clouds moving across an evening sky. The boundary between waking and sleeping grows thin, permeable. You are aware of your body in your chamber, aware of the stars beyond the window, aware of the mountain all around you, aware of the vast cosmic dance in which you play your small, eternal part. Breathing becomes the only sound. Sleep comes not as an ending, but as a continuation, a natural progression from the evening's peace into something deeper, something vast. The stars above continue their watch. The night wind continues its eternal circulation. The waters of Olympus continue their endless flow. And you rest as all things rest in the night. A servant of Zeus, a humble inhabitant of Olympus, a tiny thread in the great tapestry of eternity. At peace, at rest, at home in the darkness, under the watching stars.